Hey everybody, it's Ev over at EDJ3D. Today we're going to do a little quick tutorial on making pauses. That's usually kind of something that I'll work on any model you're doing. If not, it'll eventually start to make sense. So this video should help you kind of get a generic idea of what to do. And if this video does help you, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe, join my Patreon, or download some of my models and print them on Makerworld. They are all free as well. And now that we've paid all the bills, let's move on to this little tutorial. All right, everybody. So a Patreon member reached out and was wondering if we could kind of go over doing some pauses. And he agreed to allow me to record this. This is actually one of the chains he designed and made. So we're going to use that as the example because it'll kind of make me be able to do less and more at the same time. And I can share this recording with you guys. Let me turn my phone mute off. Sorry about that. So if you've ever made any of my chains, they're kind of designed all the same way. So for now, don't worry about too much about the settings. Those are usually, if you've got one of my chains, I've already kind of set them up for you, or if you're at this point, you probably already have your own settings, or you can feel free to use the ones I already used. They're pretty tried and true. And I believe that's kind of what Mel's got here too. I've loaded his file up in my stuff, so it's not recognizing it eye for everything. Maybe I have something slightly different, or I've possibly changed something. But it's whatever works best for you is the main thing. Um, when I first got into making print profiles and stuff, I didn't really understand the purpose or what they were doing. And one thing I did is whenever I loaded up a print, I would like save over my default and like overwrite all the. It just became a headache. So like when I go try to print something different, those settings were all just jacked up. But anywho, my main focus here is today is talking about the pauses, and I'm going to kind of explain one of the main things and why I make the chains the way I do. So if you see some chains, they may not be grouped like I do. This is Melvin's chain; he's made it, but he's just been kind of tweaking with this, so I don't think he really finished. But as you can see, he's merged many parts together, or at least the ones he wants to be at the same height. But yeah, when he's done, he'll probably merge more together, and then we name them by colors. So like I don't want to mess this thing up, but this case it would be like, ooh, merge that, merge into a single part, just to help us organize, and then that way, and then we would also, I like to name each part because if I ever mess anything, sometimes the colors get swapped around and it's easier to reference. So like this case, we would name blacks, blues, whites. Okay. All right. We can probably do that. This just kind of really helps keep everything organized for you because when you have all those parts, it gets overwhelming, and then you're just looking at too many different things. And honestly, for me, I would start to lose my place. So that's kind of how I started doing this, merging everything and then organizing them by the colors. Um, Anywho, um, so it's in an ideal world, you're going to have this set up kind of already from maybe from one of my chains or whatever. Go ahead and download a few right now if you like and print them. But if any case you want to go ahead and make your own pauses, that's kind of the ideal world. We're assuming you've already got a chain ready to go. It's already been set and painted and everything like that the way you wanted it. And now really all we're doing is just adding pauses and making it so you can make this with one AMS. I'm not doing it so you can do it with no AMS. That would be really stressful. Even with 4 colors, that's like a headache. I wouldn't even want to try that. But we're gonna do this with one AMS, which is 6 colors with one AMS. And so, ideally, yeah, you want to get this as organized as you can and make everything labeled, especially when you go shifting everything around. Like you'll see in the next part, as you can see, Melvin's already done a lot of that, and we kind of do a pop effect on all of our stuff. And there's a couple of reasons for that. It does help with color bleeding. It just kind of makes things look a little better from further away as well. It kind of reinforces that vector graphic look, or sticker effect maybe even, but it just makes it pop a little better than being flat. And sometimes when you have just like an entire flat surface, it can kind of blur when you're looking far away. But when you're far away like this, these edges pop up and you're like, whoa, what's that? Instead of just like seeing this, like, wait, no, it's whatever. But that's one reason when we do it. And then the other reason why I stagger the colors is for um, a couple of things. It would help with color bleeding, and then it also helps if you want to be able to make pauses when you're ready. It makes this process a lot easier so you can kind of see everything staggered and know where to plug and put your pauses. And then, the next reason would be just organization and keep things clean for yourself. So yeah, this was part one, and you'll notice this is mostly done. I've already kind of finished this one up for Melvin. You'll see in part two. We'll take it back from the beginning here. This is just part one. I just kind of wanted to give you an intro because I didn't really explain how all this is grouped and organized. Um, it just does make things a lot easier, especially if you ever just want to remove one of my chains and like only do the pendant, maybe make it something else, you can do that. So like this case, like this is technically the pendant, and what we do is we have the chain and we go and add it as a part, merge it, that kind of stuff. So it's actually kind of part of the print. But this way, it's really nice in case you want to turn it into something else. Like if you deleted the chain, you could turn it into a wall plaque, whatever. I actually have done that a few times myself. So I'll see you guys in part two. All right, today we're gonna go over doing pauses. It's actually kind of a tricky thing your first time, and until you don't know. I remember in the beginning of this, when I first got into this stuff and having to do pauses, I didn't really have an AMS, and I was just trying to do hue forges, and it was kind of confusing for me. And then once I've gotten more familiar now, it gets to be a little more noticeable what you got to do. So the gist of it is what we're gonna do here is we're gonna look at the overall object. In this case, it's a chain, and we're going to look at it here, and essentially the only colors we don't need until the very end are green and yellow. So we're going to increase the height, or the size I should say, and then the height of those two so that we can create a stagger effect that should allow us to have a pause, and then you can go swap out two colors for another. Um, the other trick is making sure that when we do it, they're not going to be needing to be used again during the print. So let's just fiddle this a minute here. It's been a while since I've had to do this, and I guess talking about it out loud is a little different. Again, the main thing we're looking for is the two colors we can kind of eliminate until the end, so that we can reduce it down to four until we got a pause. In this case, it's yellow and the green. So what we're going to do is go to the objects menu here. You're going to click on one, so it's highlighted. Then you're going to hold Control and then click Control. I'm sorry, yeah, just Control, and then click on this green one as well. Then we're going to go over here to the scale tab. You don't want to turn off uniform scale because it could mess up other things while we're bumping stuff up. Just for sanity's sake, we're just going to say we're going to bump it up about 2 millimeters. We're going to go to 8 just because it's kind of a nice even number. And then now we do have these above these other ones here. So now when we insert our pause, it's not going to interfere with anything else. But as you can see, there's not a lot of room once the text starts. So that could be enough. We might even be wanting to make it a little higher. And what we're going to do here is just bump this up a little bit. Let's go to like 10.4. That gives it a few more layers to kind of even out and make sure there's no color bleeding. And then once that white stops, then it's all good. So I'm going to slice the plate here. Make sure we have no floating errors. That's kind of the biggest problem with this when moving things around is you can get a floating error, and you don't want that. I'm going to pause here so you don't have to watch it slice. All right, guys, I forgot to turn my mic on again while screen recording, so I apologize if it feels a little wonky, but we're going to get it done. All right, so we got no errors. Everything's sliced good. Um, what we're going to do next is figure out where the red and the blue stops. And this is where I made my first mistake is it looks like it's done, but it's really not done. And what we're looking at here, when we look at the slicer and it's sliced, we're seeing the end result of the layer, okay? And so that bottom slicer there is actually showing you the whole layer and what the process of the tool head's going to do. So we're going to find where everything stops, and we're going to get kosher here, and then I'm going to use that slider and show you what I'm talking about. Right now I'm just kind of finding the right layer to do this and making sure all the text and stuff stops. And it looks like it does. All right, so right here is where we think the layer should be, right? I'm going to pull the slider back, and you're going to see how the nozzle moves along and what colors it's doing. We think the or the blue and red is done, but it's not. See, it's still got another layer to go. So what we're actually going to do is bump the layer up one. All right, watch him do that. And now we're gonna use the slider again, and you'll see it's only green and yellow. So that means we're good to go. So this is where you're gonna actually put your pause. You're gonna do that. All right, and then we're gonna have to slice it again. So you can slice it, or you can bring it up and then slice it, whatevs. And then once it's sliced, it's going to put like a little pause layer in there. The layer doesn't actually exist. You're not going to see that on the print. It's just letting you know where it's at. It kind of threw me off at first because in the print I was using it had gray in it or something or white. So I was like, what the hell? So the next thing we're going to do here now is try and reduce the slice down to 4 colors. And that's the other reason why this objects tab and having everything organized is a lot simpler. Because if you had like 80 objects in there, this would take a lot longer to go and swap the colors through. So essentially, we're just going to go in the Objects tab here, and we're going to toggle the colors. We're going to change the green to or the yellow to red, and then the green to blue. And that way, there's only 4 colors in the actual slicer. You just need to make a note, write on a sticky note or something. That's usually what I do. And then just know that's where you're going to go and pause. Um, so right here, we're going to switch that to red. Then we're going to switch green to blue. We're going to reslice it again and confirm the slicer only thinks there's 4 colors. I think I actually pause it so we don't make you watch everything slice. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, the slicer only thinks there's 4 colors, so that's good to go. And then when you get your pause, we're going to swap red to yellow, and we're going to swap blue to green. And then you're going to hit resume, and then everything should be good to go. If you have any questions, let me know. Reach out. If you have another video or a short tutorial you would like, let me know. I think I have a few planned. I think it's probably a good idea to go ahead and do a whole hype chain one now, and kind of share that out with everybody so they have an idea on why things are the way they are. And again, I just want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions, reach out, subscribe, join my Patreon, do any of that good stuff. Appreciate it. Bye.